I'm back at Newhaven after my UK trip, just waiting to board the ferry. It's really busy. Really bizarrely, I've just seen another guy that I've never actually met in real life before, but I know him through French Land Rover owners, so I recognised his truck, had a quick chat with him. Met some lovely French guys on motorbikes who've just been to Goodwood Festival of Speed. Had a good chat with them. They wanted to know all about Purdey, so we're just waiting to get on the ferry to head home. So we're just approaching Dieppe. I think I said that I met one of the French Land Rover owners in his camper van, which is parked right next to me. We've had a lovely chat on the crossing over. So it's an old ambulance that's been converted. It's very cool and very distinctive. And we're just waiting for the ramps to go down to get off the ferry. Just a quick video. We've got off the ferry. We've got as far as where are we? Yvetot. I've just stopped for fuel. Used 23 litres since I left Woodbridge, so I need to work that out, but that seems quite good on fuel consumption, so hopefully the map is helping with that. I'd forgotten that it's the 13th of July today, which means tomorrow is Bastille Day. So there's fireworks, it's raining. Have I got a wet foot? Well, I'm driving a Land Rover, so of course I've got a wet foot. So although the windscreen seal has probably helped, it hasn't cured the problem. There's water, yeah, practically everywhere. So I'm about to continue. The light in the temperature gauge isn't working, which is a bit of a bugger, so we need to know what's happening there really, so it's something that needs fixing. But yeah, we've got quite a long way to go. I should get home about 3 o'clock in the morning, I think, without any stops, but I might need to stop. So I wanted to show you the difference in the headlights now that we put that wiring loom in. So this is running on dipped beam, and this is main beam, which is pretty damn good for a Defender. I'm just running through a bit of mist there with a main beam. Now with the different wiring loom, it's really good. Better not blind people, eh? I'm back in France with Purdey. We had a good trip to the UK. While I've been gone, they've harvested the field, which was disappointing because I wanted to get some footage with the combine because I love a good combine. So today, Purdey's going back into the workshop because we've got quite a lot of jobs, little bits and pieces to do, always working towards having her ready for Dakar Classic. Now we've got Purdey back into the workshop. The first thing we need to do is complete the installation of that rev counter. So that's going to mean a lot of stuff coming out from under the engine bay and some wiring going through and getting that little gauge fitted up onto the dashboard. Purdey's strip down begins to get to the alternator. So you've taken off the cowl here.
Yep.
What else has got to come off?
I've taken the fan off.
Oh yeah, the fan, yeah. That's a
On the bench.
fairly important part.
Belts off. I'm
Just-
trying to get to the bottom bolt.
Yeah, just all to access that alternator so we can change it for the one that's going to run the rev counter. Nothing's particularly easy to get to when all the radiator and intercooler and everything are in, unfortunately. Look at all the Sahara that's still in there. Wow. Another thing we are going to need to do is the rocker cover gasket, because as you can see there's a little bit of seepage around that. That's not a head gasket, that's just the rocker cover gasket that needs replacing. Meanwhile outside, in a bale in the field that was cut while I was away, it's going a fair old lick, isn't he? And the bolt that we're trying to get out is this one here, but it looks like to get that out we've got to take this pulley off. Chris has got a new toy, battery powered, for getting into awkward places, which will hopefully help with getting this alternator off. Okay, so that's part of the pulley for the distribution belt.
Yep.
How much sand is in that?
I'm hoping we've got another one then.
Bit ratchety.
Try it.
It's not exactly running smoothly, is it?
Yeah.
So as this isn't running very smoothly, we decided we're going to change this. Luckily, we've got one in stock. So the alternator is now loose. Just got to get it out. So this is the bolt we had to get out, which is so much longer than I expected, but it goes through there to hold the alternator on. So the alternator is moving. It looks like it'll come out, but there's an electrical socket right at the back that's got to come off. Bit difficult to get to, obviously. So this is the little electrical connector here that's got to come off before we can get the alternator out. I missed the refitting of the alternator, but this is the modified one back in place in Purdey. So the new alternator is now fitted. All the rest of the bits that were taken off to get to it are back on. And now this piece of wire, remember we put a green wire on the alternator, now needs to be extended to go up to the rev counter.
Correct.
We want to actually test the rev counter before it's all wired in properly through to the dash. So this is just a temporary wiring solution to make sure everything works. Just when we're trying to rig up a temporary feed to this, you'll remember that this rev counter didn't stay in this little binnacle that we got for it. So what we've done is put some rubber tape around this so that it's a really tight interference fit into the binnacle, which hopefully will work. But what we need to do now is get a power and earth to this so we can check whether this works before we fit it. Well, we've put the ignition on and it's making a slightly odd noise. So for whatever reason, this is not working. Now Chris has just tried on the multimeter to make sure we're getting a feed of the alternator, which we are. All of the rest of the wires are connected, but this makes a weird noise. The issue turned out to be the power feed, which we had run off something that was also running an LED light, which doesn't work. So we changed that, and then Now that we've got the rev counter working, we need to take the dash to pieces to run some wiring through. Now, it's just not just for the rev counter, and there's other stuff that we need to put in. We're going to need to put in a fuel gauge for the second fuel tank, and we've also got a little reinforcing job to do because the binnacle was a bit flappy on Santana, and we need to give that a little bit of strengthening so that it doesn't keep moving around. So, you know how one job generates another? This is it. When I was driving home in the dark the other night, there were also some lights that were out, so we need to investigate why the instrument lights aren't working. I'm hoping it's just a bulb. Not working?
Well, it should be in there.
Oh yeah, that probably won't help a lot. Also, half the lights on the Speedo weren't working too.
So that one wasn't working.
Yeah. And the ones on that side of the Speedo. Now this is the first trial fitting of the rev counter position. As you can see, the rest of the dash is off at the moment, but the good news is we have managed to find bulbs to fix the ones that were out in the instruments. So we'll be able to see important things in the dark. So with the rev counter installed, what I'm now going to do is start the engine. I'm going to look at the nanocom, try and hold the revs at about 2000 RPM so that Chris can adjust the rev counter so that it reads the same as the nanocom. That's the plan anyway. This is the adjuster thing at the back, so that we can fine tune it. Of course, when we're running, we need to have our side lights on, so that means that this is illuminated. Makes these other dials look a bit pathetic, doesn't it? I guess we'd be able to see it though. As well as gaining a rev counter today and some new dashboard lighting, Purdey's also gained a new structure to hold this binnacle section in place. I think it's been sufficiently strengthened now that it should be fairly secure. Do we think this is helpful, Lily? So what are you doing with the electrics? Just trying to tidy everything up and put proper
connectors in so it's easy to take apart.
Yeah. Yeah. And we've got a cat helper. Now I'm just modifying this centre panel out of Purdey to take the fuel gauge for the second tank. That's not obviously a fuel gauge, that's not what's going in there. That's just to get the size right. So for the second tank that we hope is going to go under the seat, assuming it all fits together, we'll be able to see how much is in it. This is the low fuel warning light for that, and above that, hidden under here, is the switch that we can flick to pump the contents of that tank into the rear tank. So we've got the rev counter into Purdey and it's all working, which is great. And I'm hoping that all of you people who have been following that have learnt along with us how to actually make that happen. So that's it for this week. Next week we need to find out if we can actually get that fuel tank, the 90 fuel tank, under Purdey's front seat. So stay with us for that. In the meantime, thank you so much for being with us. Don't forget to give us a big thumbs up. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button if you're able to. Leave us a comment. We love to hear from you, and we'll see you soon.